What's up, Control Chaos? Azazel here, coming off of the E3 live stream and filming the next 4 weeks of Chaos Gaming. I should say the first 4 weeks. The pilots started airing as of today, which, as of me recording this, is 6/16. That came out about 11 a.m. For the next roughly 3 weeks following, we'll have an episode a week. Now, you're welcome to recommend any ideas that we touch on the gaming industry, or a particular game that you're interested in, and we will record a video about it. Now, moving on to the Azazels stem, which is the core purpose of this. No, actually, I'm not going to move on. Right now, I'm coming off of that hype of a successful stream. Thursday was our E3 recap stream. If you didn't catch it, the archive's up. You might need to scrub a little bit to the left, because we went over the 2 hours. It likes to, YouTube has this tendency to fuck up on archiving at a certain point that's exactly 2 hours past, so you might need to scrub to the left to get the first hour and a quarter, roughly. That's not on our end, that's on YouTube's end. From now on, I'm going to actually record a hard recording of it on my laptop, if at all possible, if we plan on having an elongated stream like that. But a huge shout out to Kait, a huge shout out to Red, Justin, Noble, Thurman. Thank you all for joining in that stream. That's our core gaming crew, as I call it, essentially, minus Red, who was just there for the Nintendo. I know you're watching this. You always watch. Hopefully, in the future, we can get him back into the more gaming, aside from the Nintendo aspect of things. And then he can join, as more of a hype gamer. He's super hyped about, Jump Force, so that's a plus. Because, as we know, it might not be coming to the Switch. I don't think the Switch can handle those particle effects. So, this week on Azazels Den, we got a little bit of a mixed bag. We got a little bit of E3 recap. We got a little bit of miscellaneous bullshit that needs to be discussed. But starting right off, if you know anything about me, I'm a huge Life is Strange fan, so as we were talking about in the stream, I was super happy that we have this little spin-off that's going to lead into the sequel, because we don't really know a whole lot about that sequel as of right now. And this takes place 3 years after the main title, and I'll link articles to all of this in the description of the video. So, moving right into this is going to be in a fictional Oregon town called Beaver Creek. Like I said, it's set 3 years after the original Life is Strange game. And it takes place over the course of a single Saturday morning, apparently, following a young boy named Chris, who imagines he has superpowers. We know from the trailer that his mother's not in the picture. We got a little bit more backstory here. His dad struggles with alcoholism. So there's this sense of being completely alone as this young child in this one. And it's really a, kind of bittersweet feeling to it. It's also this weird, scenario where, those of us that have, grown attached to Chloe and Max, not having them in there, it's going to be a bit odd, not controlling them, but this superpower thing, like I was talking about in the live stream, is going to be a really unique opportunity to kind of branch out of that, the back talk being the power, or the timey-wimey bullshit being the power. So this one here is going to be a free-to-play game. It comes out June 26th, and I'm really looking forward to this. I'm obviously going to be playing it. I probably won't make content out of it, but I don't know yet. It might be a highlight reel, if nothing else, but who knows at this point. It might end up being the return of Game & Chill. We don't really know. Obviously, it'll get auto-monetized because Life is Strange is all indie music, and it'll meet the same fate as the others, but we'll see how that comes about here in the next couple of days, because we're 10 days from launch at this point, so now would be the perfect time to think about that. So, moving on to the next E3 takeaway. Call of Duty had a misstep here. I know what you're thinking. Well, Call of Duty's a yearly franchise, it's always misstepping. Look at the Infinite Warfare cross Modern Warfare Remastered blunder last time. Look at the wonderful, wonderful, Black Ops 3. Look at World War II, having, a lot of, missteps with weapon balancing. This one's a bit different. Call of Duty has decided that it's not going to sell map packs separately like it usually does. And because of that, fans are having a little bit of a hissy fit over in the Reddit. And I'll link this article as well. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm a Call of Duty guy, through thick and thin. But I never really touched Infinite Warfare because I got sick and tired of, fucking space bullshit. But I did buy the Modern Warfare Remaster, which I wasn't a fan of how they monetized it. So there's that being the biggest blunder of all there. But I didn't think they'd fuck up again. I really wanted to, be like, it's Black Ops, it's going to sell well, you got zombies, you got, Battle Royale, you're capitalizing on that cash cow. And then you fuck it all up by making the season pass the only way. But wait, there's more. If you order the regular edition, you don't get the season pass. The only way to get it, there's no, buy the season pass separately as of right now. The only way to fucking get the season pass is to get a $70 version or above, it looks like. So, here's the wonderful additions. The, the only way to get the Black Ops, actually it's a $100 edition, the Digital Deluxe version of the game, or the Pro game, or the Digital Deluxe Enhanced, or if they do a physical copy of like a collector's edition, we have that as another way. What the fuck? Like, okay, let's put this in perspective. You're obviously getting great content for it because you're getting, all the map packs, all the zombie bullshit, all that wonderful, content that you love from Call of Duty. But there's always been an option to buy it after the fact. Always. And to take that away is fucking stupid. That's essentially you're fucking up as hard as you did in that wonderful other game you've got, a little bit of a stranglehold there. Oh, what's that? Oh, right, that's Destiny. You're pulling a Destiny with fucking Call of Duty here. What the fuck are you thinking? I can't even begin to comprehend what was going through their mind when they thought this was a good idea, but it isn't. You got the backlash of the community again, just like you had last time, just like you had the time before that. And the fact the community, continues to eat it up and eat it up and eat it up is pathetic. But then there are people like me that, like their mindless shooter to, fucking, blow off steam. Oh, well, I can go on a killing spree here with these wonderful fucking AIs here. Oh, look, I got one-shotted from across the map because of some bullshit DLC weapon. Oh, well, I can still, get my fucking, content worth of fucking kills here to actually make it like a highlight reel or whatever. That's what Call of Duty's become for me, essentially, at this point. Just like Destiny was, oh, I can, make a rage video because I'm getting tilted in fucking Crucible. Oh, I can make a rage video because I'm getting fucked over in the fucking strikes, That's what Call of Duty's become to me at this point. And it's pretty sad, but it is what it is. But, moving on. We had a bit of, well, I can really thought. We have a bit of Power Rangers comic book news. There's a new creative team picking up after the Shattered Grid storyline. And that creative team will be helming the next arc called Beyond the Grid. Now this is a bit bittersweet, because a lot of people have grown, really, really familiar with the Higgins style art and storytelling here. But what is really, really interesting about this is the new Ranger team. And I'm going to actually edit up this image in just a moment here. Bear with me while I live edit this up. Where the hell did that go? And dismiss all these YouTube notifications, which I'm going to have to mute at this point on desktop. Now, this is the new team. Now, this one's a bit interesting, because no one really saw any of this coming out of the Shatter Grid line, because we have, one, a villain is seemingly in the forefront here. If you've been reading, you know, the wonderful, wonderful Shatter Grid storyline, if you're not, stop what you're doing if you're a Power Rangers fan and go read it. But that Pink Ranger there is essentially alternate universe Kimberly. And he's the Ranger Slayer. So this here we have the Ranger Slayer from the Go-Go Power Rangers comics. We have the Magna Defender from Lost Galaxy, Tanya from Zeo, Cam from Ninja Storm. I don't know if that's actually Coda from Dino Charge or not, because it's labeled as a mysterious Dino Charge themed Ranger, and I haven't watched Dino Charge yet. And we have Andros, the Red Ranger from the In Space storyline as well. And judging by the way the article, you know, depicts this, this is a necessary, you know, team up for the moving forward in the traditional Mighty Morphin comic line. You'll still see the original, you know, 6 or 5. Who knows if there's any actual repercussions that will arise, but it seems like there are here, from the death of Tommy and the Shatter Grid storyline, or, you know, they pull a everyone saves the day, but as of this moment, you know, we still have Jason with the fucking the armor. We still have, you know, a lot of, you know, wonderful, you know, repercussions that are seemingly staying the course from this storyline. So once 31 comes around, it'll be really interesting to see if this team is permanent, if we're going to rotate members throughout, you know, the Beyond the Grid kind of thing, because it's been a hell of a ride throughout this, and it's the one comic that's actually, you know, piqued my interest in reading, you know, a traditional comic again versus, you know, being manga only. So, and it's pretty ironic that it took Power Rangers to do this, but the way they've just told a story is just fucking phenomenal. So kudos to the team. Hope the new team does just as well as the Higgins team has, and may he find success wherever he goes from here. And moving right along. And, you know, we've shit on PlayStation Now for quite a few live streams now at this point, and how Game Pass is seemingly better, because it allows you to download the entirety of the title. It seems that there's an embedded download feature in previews. So I'm not a, you know, preview member. I don't know if this is somebody's fantastic Photoshop or not, but it was picked up by VG247, so it's seemingly legit. The issue with that I personally have with, you know, PlayStation Now, and that a lot of people also have, is it requires, you know, a fucking phenomenal download speed, because you're essentially streaming a very large video file over the course of your playthrough. So you have that, and then you also have the queues. Now, if they shift from, you know, that wonderful bullshit to being able to allow you to download the title to your console until you beat it, then you can delete it, you know, that's great moving forward for PlayStation Now, and they're kind of trying to copy a bit of the Microsoft's, you know, wonderful Game Pass service, you know, hashtag not spawn, but moving that direction is a great step, because now you don't have to have that super high speed, you know, connection. You don't have to have that super, you know, great I would say patience, but and not a lot of people have the patience to sit in the queue. So there's that moving forward. And if you don't know, PlayStation Now allows you to stream PS2, PS3, and PS4 titles, and it's a relatively cheap service, in the same realm of the Game Pass price range. So if you're patient and you have great download speed, go check it out. And hopefully, moving forward, they actually do implement this download feature, and it's not just a bug that's there for developers or whatever. But if it's that, we know you can fucking do it for consumers, so fucking do it. And the biggest thing that was from the wonderful Nintendo conference was Smash Brothers. And we all know that Sakurai has talked about, potentially ending the Smash Brothers franchise. And he knows that the Ultimate Edition that we're getting for the Nintendo Switch could very well be the last in the series. Which seems like a fantastic send-off, for, purists and new fans alike. Because you're getting all 65 of the original fighters, or 64, and then you're getting Ridley and Daisy and whatever, The point is, you're getting all these fucking characters. Every character that's ever been in Smash, you're getting Daisy as a Delta, you're getting fucking Ridley, and there's rumored to be 66 total, so there's one more new reveal. We don't know if it's Delta or if it's a main character, a new character. There's been a lot of talk about Sans from fucking Undertale. There's been a lot of talk about, implementing Crash Bandicoot. A lot of talk about potentially incorporating Banjo-Kazooie. A lot of speculation as to what this character might be. But no one really knows what the fuck this character is. So, if it's true that there's 66, that's a great number to round out the series, can be, the definitive edition of Smash for new and old alike. You're always going to have those Melee tryhards that are like, but Melee's the best for competitive. You're right, even Sakurai said it's right. So, get off your dick. But this fucking article, kind of depresses me because I'm a big Smash fan, and I'd love to see the series continue, even if Sakurai is not in fucking control of it anymore. But, a lot of people would be against that, because Sakurai is granddaddy of, Smash. So, it's, this bittersweet thing, if it continues, will we have, it could be a mistranslation of in the article. It could be, a lot of, things here. But I don't see them ever doing this again, and Sakurai himself said that he may never be able to do this kind of game again because of how much work it took to implement all these fighters into one game. But and it's been memed to death, don't ask me for anything again, kind of thing. But it's quite interesting to see, if this is the end of Smash, that he's sending it off with a bang, essentially. And yes, we know Snake's ass has been nerfed. Samus's boobs have been nerfed. We're aware. There's no need to put that in the comments. And then we have Assassin's Creed Odyssey. This is, it's been 3 years in development. They've said we're not going to go back to a yearly franchise. Eves has said, there might be, burst periods of like multiple titles that have been in the works for a while, and then there might be, periods where we have no Assassin's Creed. But this one's been in the making for 3 years now. We see dual, heroes, dual assassins, take the reins again, and this is a departure from the traditional, Assassin's Creed. We are dealing with a basically RPG. Now, with what got a lot of people triggered is, one, there's a female assassin again, big fucking deal, and two, there is every type of romance possible, a la Dragon Age or Mass Effect. You can have, gay, lesbian, straight, bisexual, or be completely asexual in this game. And it having seemingly, some sort of effect on different paths, or maybe potentially, leading to, a romance subplot. We don't know a whole hell of a lot about this at this point. But a lot of people seem to forget that there is a lot of that in, ancient Greece. So there's all of that to digest from this Assassin's Creed thing. I'm curious how this will play out. I'll probably do 2 playthroughs, one as the male and one as the female. And this wonderful title. I'm a big Assassin's Creed fan. So, the fact that I'm getting another Assassin's Creed a year later, I'm happy. I'm a bit shocked it was, a year later, because I was thinking that there wasn't any other title besides Origins that was in development. So this was a big shock, and a welcome one at that. So now we have that RPG element taking over that we saw, somewhat successful in Origins, but a little bit limited. Now we're seeing it blown completely out into, this, so that's great. There's quite a bit that we'll be discussing in Thursday's podcast as well. So, I'm not going to take too many of the topics that we have in our topics list and, discuss them here in Azazels Den, which is what I've been doing for the last, couple weeks, because I've been prepping for E3, prepping for a lot of, stuff that's been going on in my life. So, there's a lot, that I've kind of, taken from the podcast, to make these videos. Normally, this has always been an update or a news bulletin of some format. There might be a period where you don't see an Azazels Den in the future. And that solely because, I don't want to limit the podcast to an extreme capacity. And I also, want to focus on other things. If there's not a whole lot going on news-wise that, can be, divided between the two, you might see Azazels Den skip a week. It's not always going to be a weekly bulletin. It could be every 2 weeks. It could be every, 3 weeks. It could be every month moving forward. I don't know, because we have a lot of content that's coming to the channel that's seemingly, kind of doing the exact same thing. So moving forward, that might be the format that you see from myself. I hope that's not too big of an issue for you, the viewers. There's, because we got the Chaos Gaming that I'm putting a lot of my time into. We got the podcast, that's kind of my baby. We've got, all this stuff from Red and Thurman, the manga discussions, and myself with the Promised Neverland discussions. We got, the Know My Thing's Better that's coming back. We got the Chaos Battles that we're trying to work on bringing back as well. And then we have all this other stuff that's, in the works that, now would be the perfect time for me to, take a step back, reevaluate this as a platform for, updates, or if I'm going to keep, if there's news, that we can't fit everything into a podcast, I'll, rattle off a few of them and get my thoughts on them like I'm doing now. But if not, this will just be your bulletin for a while. And, I hope, like I said, I hope that's not too big of an issue. There's also, a couple things that we've been discussing, working on, one being the D&D session with Noble. Then we're in the planning phase of that still, hoping to get that rolling within the next couple weeks, at least the filming of it. Editing it, that'll be his baby to figure out how he wants to edit it. That'll be through Roll20. There's quite a bit of other stuff, with Justin's gaming news that he does. I feel like I'm kind of, potentially overstepping on that as well, because I'm covering some of the same topics he is at this point. So it's another reason why I might step back from the Azazels Den for a bit. So until we meet again,